And now the conclusion to our thrilling cliffhanger. Yeah, I took an axe to the back. It happens. But fortunately, the AI of the phantoms is kind of strange. When they want to hit you with the axe, they want to hit you with the bladed part of the axe. So by staying up close to the guy behind me, I was able to get him to back off, since he couldn't get a full axe swing from there. And the reason that it does that, as far as I can tell, is because the part of your weapon that you hit your enemy with determines its damage type and how effective it is. So in that case he has an axe, so he needs to hit me with the bladed part to do cutting damage, or I guess it would be slashing. Otherwise, if he hit me from close range, he'd get me with blunt damage from the axe handle. And that damage would not be significant, or rather be significantly less significant than the damage I take from a full-on hit. And that's actually always been a mechanic in the Souls series. It is more apparent, I think, in the Dark Souls games than it is here. But even here, like say you have a rapier or something, it's supposed to be a piercing weapon. So when you hit enemies with the point, it does full damage. If you hit them with the side of the blade, then it doesn't do the same type of damage, and it does significantly less. So you can see the primeval demon down there. We're going to need to take out him. Off screen, I have actually gone and done the Pure Black Tendency versions of both World 3 and World 5, Latria and the Valley of Defilement. They actually aren't very interesting, so I didn't feel a strong need to commit them to my PC's memory. This, however, is a lot more interesting, I think. If only for the fat official trap there. That's really nasty. Speaking of nasty, nasty things are about to happen to this fat official. And also to our friend Ostrava, who is being chased down by Red Eye Knights on the other side of the gate. We'll need to help him out a bit.
Hurry, please.
Now, the tricky thing here is we need to save him, but we don't really want to stab him. I was going for a backstab on that Red Eye Knight, which would have left Ostrava unharmed, but I kind of accidentally stabbed him as well. Fortunately, no real harm, no foul. He seems to have escaped very nicely. This Red Eye Knight's too slow to go after him. Alright, so our real prize here is from the Fat Official. Last time we got an Iron Ring of Keys, and this time we picked up the Official's Cap, and we need both of these items to free the NPCs in this world. The Iron Ring of Keys is going to help us out to meet Bior the Twin Fangs.
This is the third. This is now.
Lovely. And the cap is going to help us to get Yuria the Witch. The Witch is the far more important of the two, but if we release the former, then the boss will be trivialized. Now before I forget, we gotta go back and get this primeval demon, because I will forget if I don't do it now. Fortunately, this is in... Hey, hang on. That's some interesting message placement right there. I think Gravity would like to have a word with those words. And we smashed the primeval demon so hard that it went flying backwards. I think that makes me feel pretty good about our current magical abilities. And we got the colorless demon soul, which is even better. That is the last one I need, or rather the last one from Primeval Demons that I need. So we got 4 out of the 5 there, and I've already got 3 of the others. So there's only 2 more left to get. We'll get them soon enough, and that'll be enough so that we can take the Chris Knife all the way to +5, and the Epee Rapier will get 1 more for +4. Should be more than sufficient to finish the game. I wonder, though, if it'll be sufficient to have our upcoming most powerful spell take out the final boss in one hit. I'm kind of doubting it, but I'm also kind of hoping that it still works. So we are now fast traveling back to the start of the level, or rather the space just before the Tower Knight boss room from the last level. There is a door over here. There's a convenient message telling me to remember, which I did not. I had to go smash my face against every wall until I found it. Now that we're here, we will learn that this is a prison. Got plenty of cells and everything. But you kind of wonder how the NPCs end up here instead of just getting killed. I'm honestly not sure about that, other than, gameplay demands that there be an NPC to rescue here. The trickiest thing about this Fat Official fight is inability to see him or your surroundings. And honestly, most of that's my fault for wearing the crazy monk hat. Anyways, we've got the Bloody Iron Key. The Bloody Iron Key is the other item we need to release Yuri the Witch. More on that when we get there. First, we need to go pick up our buddy Bior. Oh, and kill this crystal lizard. Funny place to put a lizard. Have to be very quiet. Excellent. So the neat thing about where this crystal lizard is placed is that when we come down here, we can see that this is actually connected to the area from 1-2, or from 1-2, where we met the merchant. And behind the merchant there was that gate with the treasure behind it, and that's where we are now. It is the Tower Shield, which is a very powerful shield, but also very heavy. Requires far more strength than we could ever dream of to wield it, at least on this run-through. But it is also extremely powerful. I'm not sure how it does against magic, but I'm pretty sure it's at least good against, well, 100% block physical. I think it's good against fire as well. There we go.
Who goes there? You killed that vile insect and saved me. I am called Bior, the elder of the twin fangs of Boletaria. I thank you. You deserve a handsome reward. Only I have none. Go on ahead. I shall sleep a while.
I like Bior. He's a pretty cool guy. And even though he doesn't have a shiny new item to give us, he is going to help us out with the boss. Basically, drawing all of its aggro while we pelt it with soul arrows. But, more importantly, now that we have the Bloody Key, we can go ahead and fast travel back to the start of the current stage. And if you notice that alleyway at the start of the last video that I didn't take, now is where you take it. The Bloody Iron Key can open up that gate. And before we go on, we will need to change hats to this, well, I don't know if it's a fedora or a trilby or what it is, but it's not a very good looking hat. Not even a bowler. Sheesh. Alright. Well, the reason we need to wear this hat is that just the mere act of wearing it will make the fat officials think that we're one of them. I know it should be pretty obvious that Frostina is not one of them, but, whatever. They're dumb as toast, they pay the price. It's just like, well, you look 18. here's some cigarettes, and then they turn out to be the cops. And your license to sell whatever gets suspended. I think that happened in Breaking Bad. Or maybe that was the kid trying to buy alcohol. Oh, I can't remember. I should probably watch more of that. Anyways, this is the maximum security prison. It's maximum security because the only way to get to the cells is by a staircase that has to be lowered from the cells. It'll only be lowered if you come in here with the official's cap on. Ring of the Accursed is... Actually, it's something that you would use when you're engaging in co-op play. For example, if you summon a couple of phantoms to go ahead and help you fight a boss, one strategy you can employ is to wear the Ring of the Accursed so that the boss will aggro you and your friends, or people that you met randomly on the internet, can go ahead and fight the boss. So you just focus on dodging while they actually do the damage. And the Ring of Magical Nature is also cool. The max number of spell slots you normally get is 6, but with the ring equipped you go up to 7. And there's an equivalent one for Faith as well. It's helpful because a lot of the best spells take 2 or 3 slots, and if you want to equip multiples of them,
Heavens,
you might need the extra space.
You came to...
Alright, so with that, we've saved Yuria the Witch. So now the only thing left to do is actually finish the stage. And, we were actually pretty close to doing it already. Where we met Ostrava, this is actually the last home stretch of the level. But to get to the boss door, there are plenty of soldiers and knights waiting for us. Can't see them because the hat's in the way, but I've actually got a couple of them lined up and getting beat down by piercing soul rays. That's some sage advice from the floor there. If you get overwhelmed by these enemies, it could be a bit of a big problem. Ideally, I hopefully wouldn't be getting shot at from this distance, but I'm not wearing the Thieves' Ring anymore, so they can see me perfectly well. And I'm sure the giant yellow tornado on my head doesn't help. Yeah, in addition to parrying and the like being difficult while you're wearing the monk wrappings, it's also hard to see when archers are shooting at you. Because normally what you want to do is you wait for the sound of them firing, and then you move out of the way. But if you're playing with the sound off or turned down, or there's crazy things going on, you might need to actually see them shoot and track the trajectory of the arrow. The other thing is, and this is kind of cheaty, but it happens in all of the Souls games. Well, first let's watch what happens here. I guess we don't get to see the fun part yet. Well, what happens a lot of times when your enemies fire arrows in the entire Soul series is that they will actually home in a bit. Like, the arrow will curve. So, even if you do dodge based on sound, if you didn't dodge far enough, the arrow might still curve and hit you, and you have no way to see that that's going to happen. It's happened to me quite a bit in Dark Souls 2, and I'm really not a fan of the arrow thing. Dark Souls 2 is good enough. Maybe a bit too long. Alright, I actually think that's everyone. They all came down to play instead of waiting for me to use divide and conquer tactics. Oh well. I'm not complaining. We got out of here just fine. Now, there's only one thing left to do. And that's to fight a very silly boss. But first... That brutal finishing move is... I'm pretty sure that's an actual backstab in Dark Souls 2, which is awesome. What's less awesome is the unfortunate choice of name for this particular boss. He is called the Penetrator. Much like Ceaseless Discharge in Dark Souls, it's just one of those really silly, stupid names. And I never remember this guy even exists because he's so sad. I mean, I guess you gotta be pretty sad if you're, naming yourself the Penetrator, but it's just so silly. The entire thing is ridiculous, and the fight isn't even remotely a challenge, if you have Bjorn. I actually don't think it's much of a challenge at all, even if you don't have him.
Back there again. How could a demon ever stand up to a bona fide knight?
And I think Bjorn agrees with me. The Penetrator's just ridiculous.
I must be getting older. I need some rest.
Oh, I think we all need a rest after battling with the Penetrator. Come on. Oh boy. Anyways. There is not much left. We could go on to the next round, or to the final stage, but I'd rather not. I want to take out the rest of the Archdemons first.